Greetings, friends. I am Faith LaPen, historian of Crossford Shire. Many of thee have visited our town in the past and know the wisdom of our kind Duke and Duchess, the sweetness of our residents, and the gloriousness of our revelries. What thou perhaps knoweth not is that I, even Crossford, has its darknesses and mysteries. Today I shall take thee to visit just such a one. We shall see the people, the places, the events of a dark occurrence known as the Great Chicken Stampede.
Yeah, this here's a Dilbert. Yeah, little Dilbert. He's one of the ones that didn't get away.
To understand this most wondrous calamity, we must wend back to two kind rustics and the simple farm where their events began.
I'm a farmer, Rowan Star Cluxley. Everyone just calls me Roo.
And my name is Henny Payne Cluxley. I'm his dear wife.
That's my Henny Pen. Yeah, I'm a farmer. I've been raising these chickens. My father raised chickens, and his father raised geese, actually. I hate geese. And of course, my wife, she helps me with everything.
Of course I do.
Live just down a ways. If you know where Crossford is, you can't get to Crossford without seeing 1 inch of my land. Tons of acres, that's what it was. Yes, it is. So, apparently, one of the, what was it, Jen? It was John Habersham, right? John Habersham?
He lives right up the road.
Yeah, he comes down and tells me that all my chickens is pouring into town. And I said, what chickens?
To learn more about this mystery, I traveled apace to the Shire of Crossford itself.
Yes, I remember the Great Chicken Stampede. I was right here when I first realized something was desperately wrong. I had just come across the backwards bridge. I was backwards. Make no mistake about it. But I felt a great rumbling in the ground, and I heard that first telltale. I looked to the forests of Crossford that lie between these festival grounds and our village on the other side of the hills. I saw them coming, a great horde, full of spurs and beaks. It was madness that day. I cannot believe any of us lived to tell the tale.
I remember what I was doing. I was doing research in the forest just shy of my abode. I remember there was a sound like I'd never heard before. A great and terrible cluck.
It was this little cheeping noise, little beep 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 beep.
What is most occult and strange about the Chicken Stampede is yon nay one recalls the basic details the same way.
Oh, yeah, I think that was 60.
Oh, that was back in 72.
72, I thought it was 68, woman. Was it 68 or 74?
I believe it was 1560. It was a clear day. Perhaps it was overcast. I don't believe it was raining. You know, now that you mention it, the memory is somewhat hazy.
Despite these diverse strangenesses, the villagers know well their own terrifying tales.
Good day to you. I'm Laurel Katz, town herbalist, and you're here with me at the Crossford Inn where I work part-time for my sister. The Great Chicken Stampede. I remember it well. I was a young girl back then, but I remember leaving the town in shambles for weeks. But some good did come out of it. I'll tell you a story. There weren't just grown chickens in that stampede. There were little chicks as well. Of course, most of them were dawdling behind because their legs are much shorter. But one was injured, and I found it in the square. it had hurt its little wing in the mayhem. Well, I felt bad for it, so I decided to nurse it back to health. That's what my mom would have done. In fact, we've been best friends ever since. This is Mary, but her full title is Mary Queen of Scotch Eggs. All for me then.
Oh, I was tending my vegetable garden.
Oh, yep, she loves the vegetable garden. We just put it in about 2 years ago. Made it twice as big before it could only hold zucchini.
Of course, it keeps us fed.
No, it keeps us fed, and they have lots of zucchini. Zucchini every week, every month.
Oh, you should hear him complain about that.
No, I don't. I only complain when it's bad. That's most of the time.
Alright, so I can get eggs for my chickens.
Yes.
Yeah, he was working on the chicken coop and I was working in the garden.
Yeah, I was trying to fix it because apparently there was a giant hole in it that everyone kept telling me I needed to fix.
And then all of a sudden there was a stampede and they hurt my poor garden.
Yeah, they got into the garden, yeah. I knew I should fix that hole. We saw a bunch of feathers were flying over the hill just over yonder, and just feathers everywhere. And I was thinking to myself, well, maybe the hill's got some more chickens. And that's when I realized it was more chickens, and I probably should do something about it.
I was traveling the roads, and happened to come upon Crossford in the midst of the stampede. First, I stumbled upon bodies covered in feathers and poked with little holes. And the further I ventured into town, there were more bodies and more feathers, but no birds. As I ventured through there and headed toward the main town square, I saw who I would soon to learn is Sir Barry Brash, and Roger Awesome and Jack Bold of the Adventurers Guild, trying to fortify this wall. And at first I thought maybe something was amiss, maybe the town was under attack, perhaps bandits. And then I saw a single chicken standing there in the road. And at first I thought perhaps this was a Formaggio del Toro rule gone wrong, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Formaggio del Toro rules of dueling, but a chicken is a very important part. And then there was another chicken, and another, and another. And soon they were everywhere. They were standing on the rooftops, they were in the streets, they were on the fountain, all just staring, waiting. Many of the Adventurers Guild were pecked to death by these foul creatures. They flew everywhere. They were all over us in a heartbeat, just pecking and clucking and scratching. But I retained my composure. Sir Barry and I quickly herded them into a narrow field where Sir Roger and Jack Bold could use their fey magic to slow them down, and then we just proceeded to cull them back with cuts and pushes and clubs and anything else that we could use, until we finally managed to get them back into their pen and throw 3 large logs across the front to keep them from venturing out.
I ran for my life. Yes, I ran through the forest, this way and that. It was like a terrible, flapping breeze was forever at my back. I could not look behind me, no. My only thought was to run. And then suddenly, when I could run scarce no more, there in front of me was one of the many streams and creeks that flowed through the forest. And I remembered, chickens cannot swim, and they can only fly short distances. And I thought to myself, if I could make it to the other bank, I would be safe. So I gathered all the might I had left, and with a tremendous leap, I landed about midway in the stream. And there in the water, I reached and grabbed a reed by the bank and plucked it into my mouth and submerged myself below the water. There I lay, breathing for who knows how long. I lay below the water. And finally, when I could bear it no longer, I raised my head above the water and looked, and all was silent, and I knew a terrible horror had occurred. I made my way back to the village to offer what little aid I could, but there was naught that could be done.
Of course, whenever I see a stampede coming, I always do what I always do. That's dig a hole and stick my head in it.
Yep, same here.
Yep, I actually go dig 2 holes. You know, now that I'm married, I get to dig 2 holes.
Well, as the undefeated duelist, I was not to be cowed down by chickens, but chickens are very swift. Fortunately, I had my karambit. I knew it was going to be a harsh battle, but I simply dove in. I fought them as they would fight me, claw to claw, and I would just carve and swipe every time a chicken just brr, brr, brr. But I relied upon my peacock fighting style. I met them as fighting bird to fighting bird. It was the only way I was able to survive, even at the loss of my eye.
A final question remains. Whom should we censure for the stampede? Certainly not the brave historian who plucked a quill feather from a rooster, agitating the birds. The proposals are many, and herein lieth another line of thinking, shrouded by puzzlement. It's all my fault. And I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I thought I would take this information to my grave, but I must unburden my soul. I know how it all began. I know who is responsible, and I know why. And I have to tell you now, I can't keep silent anymore. So many have suffered, so many.
This is the place. I've not been here since that fateful day. But it's best not to linger here too long. But this is where it all started. My brother and I were playing as children. Jack Bold had gotten into one of our mother's fertility potions, and we found that lair right over there. There was a homicide of chickens nesting thereupon, and my brother, he spilled the fertility potion upon them. That's what began that great orgy of growth and reproduction. I know it. It was a year before the Chicken Stampede, and they flooded the entire village of Crossford. Oh, the horror. I'm sorry, Jack Bold, but I can't keep this to myself any longer. The truth has to come out. It was all Jack Bold's fault. And by God, I didn't do anything to stop him.
Everyone says because they were my chickens, or our chickens, that it was our fault. And my wife says because I didn't fix the hole.
Well, technically it was our fault.
Yes, but let me tell you, the hole was in there in the first place because the horse kicked it. Yes, he did. And I told the horse you can't go around kicking chicken coops whenever you're angry. And you know what the horse said to me?
No, what did he say?
He said, that's what he says all the time.
The horse kicked the coop, but he refused to fix it, even though I told him over and over to go fix the chicken coop.
Woman, that chicken coop needed fixing a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a couple of weeks ago, and you told me to fix it only... Yeah, you did. You told me to fix it. That's right.
I did.
You did.
Tell you.
You're right. Yeah, you did.
So, Dame Thora likes to be a bit of a joker, and likes to mock my Formaggio del Toro style of dueling, because a chicken is the hand of God in the duel. So she likes to go around town and say that perhaps I was in the midst of a duel and threw the chicken in the air as proper dueling custom, and that chicken didn't like it and summoned its brethren and caused the stampede. But I call this to be nothing but a foul besmirching of my good name.
Here are the facts that we know. The chicken stampede occurred on a clear, cloudy day in 1562, or 1568, or 1572, or 1574, ravaging the village of Crossford. This is the lady who plucked out a feather and startled the chickens all clustered together, who, angered by Lucian, ran out the hole, ignored by the farmer who lived near the knoll. This is the herbalist who saved the peep that cheeped at the astrologist fallen asleep. 'Twas birth to the hen, waylaid by the cock, that tasted the potion that good Jack Bull dropped. Though it could have been the influence of fairies. Nah, they'd never.
I still have my karambit, and I have barbecue sauce. I have not forgotten what you have cost me, what you have cost this town. And Sir Lucian is ready, and Sir Lucian is hungry.